in a delightful, surprising manner. And yes, look for it, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I remember once in Los Angeles, I was looking for an apartment. It took me 6 months. And when I was looking, I couldn't believe the junk that I was seeing. I kept saying, this is Los Angeles. It's filled with wonderful apartments. Where are they? All I could see was junky apartments that I wouldn't consider. And it took me 6 months. And then when I found the one that I wanted, it was magnificent. And the thing was that the building was being built. And I couldn't get it because it wasn't built yet. And when it was built, it was waiting for me. And sometimes that happens. You know, you look for something and you're not finding, and you're not finding, and you're not finding. There's a reason for that. Now, you know that you're going to get a wonderful place.
Thank you for your support.
You'll keep knowing that you always live in a wonderful place, that it's easy for you to find homes, and you always have a wonderful place to live. Make that your personal law. The other thing that I like, and I used this for years, was that I always have good relationships with my landlords. Because that's something that makes life a lot nicer. Yes. Let's do this gentleman over here.
Thank you. I'm pretty well blessed with friends and joy, but like the other gentleman, I freelance, and so I get very well supported by the people around me, but that tends to make me feel very guilty because I can't reciprocate.
Okay. That's your problem, not theirs. Are they giving to you only to get back?
It depends on the individual. You know, family tends to give with one hand and expect something in return. But the friends are giving out of the joy of giving.
Okay, so the family who is giving with one hand and expecting in return, just give them some love.
I've been trying that.
Just do it, you know, and if that's not good enough for them, that's not your problem. That's their problem. There are times in life when the universe gives to us in a form, whatever form that we may need, and we may not be able to do anything to give back or anything, and that's okay. I mean, however the universe has decided to take care of you, you say thank you. And then there will come a time in your life when you will help somebody else. I can think of many people in my life in the early days who really helped me enormously at a time when there was no way I could pay them back. But what's happened is that years later, I've taken an opportunity to help someone else. And that's the way life goes. Very often all we do is exchange prosperity. Somebody gives you something and you right away give it back. Or you reciprocate. Or somebody takes you to lunch and you immediately have to take them to lunch. Or somebody gives you a gift and you immediately have to give them a gift. Learn to receive. Learn to accept. Learn to say thank you and just receive. And you know, if the universe likes to know that you can receive and not just exchange. And sometimes you don't need to give back to the person that gave to you. You'll give to somebody else at another time. But learn to accept. A lot of us have problems with that. We can give, but we can't. You know, and when somebody gives you a gift, smile and say thank you. That's all you need to do is smile and say thank you. You know, if somebody gave you a gift and you said to them, oh, it's the wrong size or it's the wrong color, I guarantee that person will never give you another gift. And the universe will say, this person doesn't want any good. You know, you accept graciously, and if it really isn't right for you, then you pass it on to somebody that can use it. Same thing with compliments. If somebody gives you a compliment, smile and say thank you. Just smile and say thank you. And you know, speaking of prosperity, how do you nourish yourself? What do you do for yourself that's nourishing? What do you do to make yourself feel good, to take care of yourself, to make sure that you're in superb health, to make sure that you have lots of loving friends around you? What do you do? Do you take time to nourish yourself? Again, you know, going to the mirror in the morning, any time of the day, but I like the morning because it sets the tone of the day, and saying, what can I do for you today to nourish you? How can I nourish you? How can I make you happy? How can I make you happy? The other thing we want to do, you know, is we want to be grateful for what we do have. If if we're only looking at what we don't have, if we're only seeing the lack, again, that's not a way to bring more good in. Start to be very aware of what you have and be very grateful for it so that more stuff can come in. This lady over here wants to ask me something. I saw you.
Hi, I'm having a hard time receiving happiness. Actually, I'm very happy. I'm having a hard time with fear of being happy.
Okay, what would happen?
I'm newly married, and I'm very happy, and I feel like I'm receiving love more than I ever have. I have a 9-month-old baby who's very beautiful, and I love her very much. And I have a tremendous amount of fear that something's going to happen to her, or something's going to happen if I'm too happy.
Yes. You know what that's called? That's called running anxiety. That's all it is. It's like there's an anxiety part of us that is here. And usually it gets taken care of this way or that way. We have these little things going on. When our life is really magnificent, it's like we're not handling that part of ourselves. So these thoughts come up. So when you hear them or when you feel them, just say, it's okay, I'm just running anxiety. All is well. My life is so wonderful, and I deserve, and I'm willing to accept, and I can have. That's all you're doing. Just recognize it is that little part of you is saying, well, she's not upset anymore, and we've got to do something.
Something's going to go wrong. I just know it. Things are too good.
Thank you for sharing. Again, thank you for sharing. I appreciate. I know you're trying to take care of me. One of the things that I do when a fear thought comes up is I say to it, I thank it. I say, thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for taking care of me. I appreciate that you want to help me. And then I'll do an affirmation for whatever it is. But I acknowledge that the fear thought is there to protect me, because that's what fear is, really, isn't it? You get frightened and the adrenaline comes and it's saying, where's the danger? So I say thank you. And you can do the same thing for that. And just don't give it a lot of importance. Okay, let's give it to the lady in aqua here. Yes.
Hi. I've read a lot of your books, and I'm really trying to practice learning and applying what I'm getting out of the books. But when I looked into the mirror, I expected to have the fear of not having enough money. But what came to me was a fear of having the money. And I sat here and thought about that. My family did keep playing these old tapes. We were poverty and welfare children, and it was always, well, rich people are no good, or they're selfish, or they're whatever, and on and
so
on
now
and on.
if you have money, you're going to be no good.
Oh, yeah, and you should never have a credit card. And what's really funny is I have a credit card, and I always sabotage myself with my credit cards. I always manage to have enough money to pay the rent and buy my food. And if I start making too much money or becoming too successful, I will sabotage myself so that I only provide enough money to meet my needs and not my wants. Well, then I started putting out these affirmations of it's okay to accept and to have things. And yesterday I was driving down the street and I really had a strong need for a vacuum cleaner and a typewriter. And those are like so unrelated, but I turned up the wrong street, and sitting on the corner was a vacuum cleaner that had a sign on it that said, free, it runs, take me. I stopped the car, and I got out of the car, and sitting next to the vacuum cleaner on the ground was a typewriter. There was a little Jewish man that was standing in the driveway, and I said, excuse me, are these yours? And he said, no, dear, they're yours. I have had them for so long, I don't use them. The maid has her own vacuum cleaner. You take them and use them well. And I smiled and said, thank you.
You must have made some changes in consciousness, I think. How wonderful. Okay, let's let this lady.
I hear you talking about loving yourself and being willing to learn to love myself. But how do I put it into practice? How do I really allow myself to love myself so that I can.
First thing that you do, absolute number one on the list, is you stop criticizing yourself. Just make a vow that you are not going to do that at all anymore. And work on that as much as you can, because as you stop criticizing yourself, you are going to be amazed at how you lighten up on yourself. I find that that's the number one thing that's in the way of loving who we are.
I really appreciate what you said about if we couldn't say I love you, to say I'm willing to learn to love you. That was very helpful.
Bring it
I
back
appreciate that.
to a space that you can begin to work.
Right.
Don't force yourself. The quicker you can get to I love myself, the better it is. But if you can't do it to start with, I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to begin to learn to like you, if you have to move that far back. But someplace so that you can start inching up till you get to the point where you say, I love you, you're wonderful, and really feel good about it. And that takes time for some people because we've got all this stuff in the way. And when we get to the point where we can really do that, it's amazing the wonderful stuff that happens in our lives. But remember, we're only dealing with thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. I love working in a group like this because we help each other. We bring up stuff and we can see where other people are, and it touches stuff inside of us. When we change our thinking, we change our reality. That's just that simple. So let's know some positive things for ourselves. We are open and receptive to wonderful new ideas. We allow prosperity to enter our lives on a level that it has never entered before. We deserve the best, and we are willing to accept. Our income is constantly increasing. We move away from poverty thinking into prosperity thinking. We love ourselves. We rejoice in who we are, and we know that life is here for us and will supply us with everything that we need. We move from success to success, from joy to joy, and from abundance to abundance. We are one with the power that created us. And we express for ourselves the greatness that we are. We are divine, magnificent expressions of life, and we are open and receptive to all good. And so it is. Thank you very much.